Hello, I'm Stuart Goldsmith, and this is my Infinite Sofa. You're watching live at twitch.tv/Stu Goldsmith, or you're in the past. Poor you, unless things get substantially worse, in which case, is it good there? I hope it is. Joining me on my Infinite Sofa tonight are the following absolute reprobates. Look at this lot. This is Ian, Holly, Sam and Steph, Heather, Kath, Moz and Helen. Before we introduce everyone else, hello Moz and Helen. Which one of you is best? Oh, that is true love, ladies and gentlemen. Who else do we have? Unless you're friends, in which case that's fine too. It's love, but it's still true. We've got Neil, we've got Josh and Nishat, we've got Dan, Joshua, Alex and Chris. Alex and Chris, you are out of focus, my friends, but thanks for joining us anyway. I feel like you're sort of an American Gothic painting. One of you be holding a pitchfork and looking sad. That would be wonderful. We'll go over to Holly. Hello, Holly. You weren't expecting that, were you? Holly reaching there for a mug of something. What are we drinking, Holly?
Rum and Coke.
Rum and Coke, approved. Let's just go to everyone briefly. Let's just see a quick shot of everybody. Can you wave both hands in the air to show that you are not currently touching it? No, that's not it. And wave a hand in the air if you are drinking alcohol this evening. Oh, very good. Give us a wave if you are not drinking alcohol, but you sometimes do. And give us a wave if you never touch the stuff. Good work. And I said there's someone new over here. Is it Yimiao? Am I pronouncing that right?
Hello.
Hello. Is it Yimiao?
Yes. It's
Yimiao. Fantastic. Yimiao. Thank you. Whereabouts are you?
I'm in North London, Haringey.
North London. Whereabouts in North London?
Haringey.
What's the name of your street? I was just zooming in. Very cheap, very cheap. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Maggie from a passport booth in the 70s. Absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Infinite Sofa on Twitch only because we're exclusive now, but you can still catch previous episodes and this one 24 hours now via infinitesofa.com, which has all the links to catch previous episodes to YouTube and Facebook, which I now hate because I'm a Twitch guy. I'm twitching. I invented that. Coming up on the sofa tonight, we've got celebrity guest who go nuts for this, James Acaster. A lot of people's favourite comic. He's certainly one of mine. Well, a bit much, Stu. But that's only because we have so many of my favourite wonderful acts on the show tonight. James is going to be having his mind read for real to a movable magic works by Myq Mohammed, ladies and gentlemen. Go on. We've also got joyful musical lunacy from Pritchard. Pritchard. Backlog jokes from Myq kaplan. Well, that we have got artist Charles Burns, who is going to be doing something very special in just a moment. Now, before we go any further, I have to tell you hello to everyone in the chat. I have to tell you hello to everyone. You tell it. Nanonic says, hit like, subscribe and ring that bell. Good point. There is no bell, but by all means feel free to like and subscribe. I'm learning as I go. Fatboy Swarms shouts Springleaf. That's not that deep a cut, but you've got to know what you don't know. Bryce says, I've installed Twitch for this. And that is exactly why they need cool guys like me on the platform. Lady in here says, boy is deployed. Now, I may have missed a reference to that earlier on, but here's a fun thing that me and my kids do when I take them to the swing in the park, which we no longer do because it's closed and we're good people. What we do is I put him in the swing, lift it up, and then I go, dropship deploy, and I let go. It swings backwards. And of course, that's a quote from Aliens. He has no idea, and now his mum's joining in as well. I don't think she's ever seen the film, so that's a lot of fun. AKA Arthur asks, am I in a 70s nuclear shelter? Well, thanks for asking. I'm in a murder basement, but as far as I know, it was used during the 70s. So everybody, this is a little thing I've got to remind you of before we crack on. You in the chat can ask questions of my guests. You watching at home can join the chat if you like. And if you want to be on the sofa for the next show, you can donate at Infinite Sofa. It's a new website which David Hall will now hastily make in order that I don't look like I fucked up. You can go to Infinite Sofa. Am I going too fast? I'm excited. Hang on, I'm just going to have a moment. Just you in your basement. Breathe. I'm literally looking at my ironing board. Norton never has this problem. I'll tell you what, how good's that? If I turn that way, I can suddenly be a bit like Harry Hill. Point is, you can donate at infinitesofa.com. Plus, at 8:30 p.m. tonight, a scant 23 minutes from now, the biggest donor so far gets to teleport into the show and join us in time for our celebrity interview. We're going to have a quick game before we meet our very first guest. So could you tell us, please, people in the chat, raise a hand if you have a favourite crime. Favourite crime, criminal punch? Favourite crime that you like doing as opposed to being done to you? No one put their hand up, so I'm going to bully Ian. Ian.
Favourite crime would be...
I mean, there's a real danger with this game that it could go somewhere very dark. We're all right with Ian. Go on.
Favourite crime would be going out twice in a day.
Oh! Outrageous. Anybody publicly shame Ian? The way we publicly shame people. Thank you. Heather, you just improvised that. It was wonderful. Can you show us what you did? Can you show us what you did, Heather?
I went shame.
And everyone point at Ian and say shame. Very good. Shame. Oh,
Shame.
It's awful to think that's actually Ian's favourite crime. It's not the only one he does. It's his favourite crime. So here we are. David Hall. Let's go to David Hall. We've not really introduced you. What do you do again, David?
What do I do? Mainly your whims.
Sure. Okay. So that was David, everybody. David's not a member of the public. Well, he is, but he's also a professional comedian, and he's appeared to agree to appear on the show. Does the speed make it better? Let's check it out. He's agreed to appear on the show effectively so I can bully him, but he also plays the guitar. David, pick up that guitar and play us a few little notes. Average. So, Holly, now tell us, what's your favourite crime, Holly?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, thanks for playing. What's your favourite crime, Chris? Have you got a favourite one between you?
Music piracy.
Music piracy. Good crime. We'll just check in with the arbiter of crime. Heather, would you like to shame them for that, or are you on board?
No, I'm on board. That's fine.
She's on board, ladies and gentlemen. Thinking about your favourite crimes. We'll come back to them later on. Hey, Josh and Nishat, we've not really spoken to you. Have you got a favourite crime? Maybe something you could do as a pair?
It'd be good fun to try rob a bank. Yeah,
no, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
How much fun would it be now if I just went, we've got him, and then if only we had the budget. But you can help. Donate now at infinitesofa.com. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start off with our first guest. This is so special to have such a unique and wonderful skill on the show. He's been recommended personally by our celebrity headliner, James Acaster. So I'd like Mr. Charles Burns, please, if you can, to turn on your video now so that we can introduce you. I've got so many windows, I can't actually see whether you're here or not. You are here, but you're in a different thing. Here is Charles Burns, ladies and gentlemen. Can we welcome him with a round of applause? Now, as you can see from the background, Charles is a celebrity vampire, and he's on the show in order to read us through his leather-bound collection of encyclopedias. No, of course, that's not why you're here. Charles, can you tell us what you do?
Well, when people ask me what I do, I just tell them I'm a silhouettist, and then I watch for the reactions as people kind of go to themselves, what on earth does that mean?
Okay.
I don't know what that means.
Well, I feel like I know what that means, and I think from the evidence behind us in the wonderful Royal Dalton ball of a room that you're in, can you tell us, please, what you do with your silhouettes?
Well, a silhouette, I mean, I cut portraits out of paper with a pair of scissors. Like you, I started out in Covent Garden many years ago.
Yes.
And as a street portrait artist, and then I discovered that I could cut portraits with scissors rather than drawing them. And I've been doing that ever since. And I travel around the country. Well, at the moment, I don't travel around the country because no one can. But I go from event to event, cutting portraits of people. And I've been earning my living that way for about 20 years.
That is an absolute, there's so many things I love about that. It's creative, it's artistic, It's one of those things, like all street performers, the only people that become, just going to get on my high horse now, the only people that become street performers are anyone that sees someone street performing and thinks, I can bloody do that. So I think it's full of lots of verve and dynamism. And, you know, I did it for 10 years. But most exciting thing is you invented it. And I think that's absolutely wonderful. Now, am I right in thinking, Charles, and it might be a short spot if I'm not right, but are you able to do this remotely via Zoom?
That's what I'm hoping. Yes, it's not. It's quite a new idea for me, but I'm sort of hoping that, especially with that spectacular hairstyle of yours, that you're going to pose for me. But it's going to be rather an awkward experience for you, because silhouettes only work in profile, which means you're somehow going to have to continue running this show whilst being in this position.
I think there are people more professional than me who would struggle at doing that. That's a really low bar. So I tell you what we'll do, Charles. Why don't I go now? How should we silhouette this? Do I need to be silhouetted myself in order that you can?
No, what I've done is I've pinned your video to my screen, so whatever you do, whatever anyone else can see doesn't matter, because I can see you.
Great, thank you. Well, I shall spotlight you in a sort of a wonderful. It's not a circle jerk. What is it when there's only 2 points? Let's not think about it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read some favourite crime.
Those shelves.
I'm trying to do this in such a way that I don't unplug everything. I'm going to face this way so that I'm beset by cables. How's that? Is that all right? I'm going to read some favourite crimes.
That's really good. Yes, so just keep looking straight ahead.
Okay. Now, the fun thing now is I've got to try and find my mouse, the cursor, which is on the screen in front of me. And so I need to direct it down and to the right in order to get it onto this screen.
Yeah, that's left and up from where you're sitting.
Left and up.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's helped. Charles, I don't want to throw you off here. I'm going to briefly have to look at the screen because I'm buggered if I can find the mouse.
It's all right. I'm just literally on the end of your nose as you speak.
Oh God, the end of the nose is twisty anyway. Bloody thing.
Up to our hair now. So I'm just putting a few. This is basically just zigzags I'm doing at the moment because
it's often how my face has been described. So I'm just trying to look through the chat window, but I'm going to have to risk another. There it is. Where's the sodding mouse? Where is it? I've got him.
It's really hard for you, but you're doing very well.
I'm just going to read this one out, Charles. The Lockdown Comedy Guide says, wouldn't a screen grab be an idea, or would that be...
We all know that
has gone with what comedian ear.
And a screen grab looks too much like a photograph to me.
Well, that's true. I'm also pleased to say the moderator bot that I installed earlier on, or that I activated earlier on, has permitted the term Hitchcockian, but it did query it.
Okay, you can stop posing in profile now because I've got your silhouette here. I'm just going to put
so much
white behind it.
Oh my God! Oh God! Wow. Give it up for Charles Burns, ladies and gentlemen. I am excited for all sorts of reasons here, not least that I realise now what Russell Howard meant when he said I look like I'd been designed by Tim Burton a few episodes. Absolutely fantastic. Now, Charles, throughout the show, you're going to do some silhouettes of some members of my sofa audience.
If anyone would like, yes. So throughout the show, if people have access to the chat, I'm going to basically send individual chats to people in the audience that I sort of like the look of and think they might have interesting profiles. Or if anyone would like a silhouette, you can sort of wave at me or say something. And from your point of view, if at some point in the show you look at the screen and one of your audience members is sort of sitting really bored, looking this way, not paying attention to the show at all, it's not because you've lost your touch.
Oh, well, that's kind of you to say, but it does happen a lot anyway. If anyone that would like to could just wave now, wave at Charles, and he can make a note of which names seem interested. Francis, Matthias is up for it.
Waving.
Yimiao's up for it. Joshua's up for it. Josh and Nishat. I'd steer clear of them, to be honest. Well, criminal.
Yeah, got it. All right.
There we are. And Heather, I think, as well. So you pick some, send messages to them on the chat, and we'll come back to you later on the show. Give it up for Charles Burns. What? This is like actual telly. Ian, do you reckon this is like actual telly?
Yeah, definitely.
I think the correct answer is no, Stuart, it's better. Here we are. So, Ian is the sort of person who is absolutely able. Now, for some reason, I spotlit myself then, but it jumped back to Ian. Have you hacked into the mainframe?
Maybe.
I'll come back to you with that question again. In fact, I'll try someone completely different. Josh and Nishat, is this almost as good as telly?
Better.
Better. Never watched
Brilliant.
that. So good.
I love is that because I'm going for sort of punchy little comments, because Josh so far has always spoken first, we get Josh's gag and then I cut away as Nishat speaks. Nishat, are you in a relationship with Josh? Are you?
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. Josh, would you like to respond to that? Well, there we go. Cut away from Josh and suddenly we've evened the odds. What a lot of fun. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're thinking of donating to the show, you can go to the donate button below the Twitch window upon which you're watching it. If you're watching it 24 hours from now on either YouTube or Facebook, which I hate, then feel free to donate via infinitesofa.com to be in with a chance of being on the sofa next show, which is going to be this Thursday at 8 p.m. with our guest Ramesh Ranganathan. Woo! Indeed. I'm just going to go to Maggie because I like the way she was clapping. I said woo, and Maggie, you went. All week I've been doing radio interviews going, it really is such an incredibly warm and joyful thing. Got to Maggie going. Totally unfair of me, of course. Now, I'm just going to quickly check if someone is sitting facing to one side. Can I see if anyone is facing to one side? How are you getting on, Charles? Do you find
I'm sending messages to Josh and Nishat, but I'm not sure they've
Are you?
they've noticed.
Now we have. Yeah.
Now they have. So can I ask,
Yeah, that's all right.
ladies and gentlemen, if you would like
And you want to
your silhouette done, and a sensible thing to do would be to open the chat window by pressing chat at the bottom of the Zoom thing. Now, we'll just cut back to Josh and Nishat, who are apparently recreating Alas Smith and Jones, a reference which I do hold for them. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have our first comedian guest. I saw this guy at the Edinburgh Festival last year. He's absolutely brilliant, possibly even the year before that as well. I've seen him all over the place, and he's one of my very favourite comics. I don't want to big him up too much because it's always hell if you're a comic and the host starts saying how great you are. You might as well just go, he seems fine, I don't trust him. No, you can't do that either. Let's welcome, ladies and gentlemen, all the way. I believe he's currently in New York, and I'm waiting for him to activate his. There we are, ladies and gentlemen. Would you please welcome with a huge round of applause, making his first appearance on the Infinite Sofa? It occurred to me to say that briefly. I mean, aren't we all? But making his first appearance on the would you please welcome Myq Kaplan.
Hey. Thank you so much for having me. This is not a virtual background that I found in Zoom. This is where I actually am because I take social distancing very seriously. So stay away from me. I like that there was a musical chairs game on the Infinite Sofa. So Stuart, I feel like you're the only one who didn't get a seat on a chair because, are all of the chairs the thing that combine into the infinite? So I think that every chair equals one sofa. Anyway, I'm a comedian. So me in with some jokes eventually. By the time I'm done with my set, you'll be like, I think that might have been a comedian. So I'm happy to do comedy in this age from my home. It's so much easier in some ways, harder in some ways, easier in some ways. One way that it's easier, people, how do you deal with hecklers? Well, I just have the admin mute them. It's much simpler this way. I hope for a future where we can have a Black Mirror style live comedy show. Somebody yells out, a button gets hit, they can only hear in their head and never out loud once again. So I want to offer, first, I didn't realize, like I've done comedy for about 18 years, but also I can cut paper. So I think I have another career cut out for me as well. Didn't even mean that pun. I mean a lot of them, but not that one. I think cutting paper is how you defeat it. I've played rock, paper, scissors a long time. So the scissors do beat paper. The rock can obviously smash scissors, but paper defeats rock by covering it, which that's not how you win. I get into bed and cover myself with my blankets every night. My blankets are not defeating me. You understand? We are a team. Like, cover me, I'm going in. We're on the same side. Anything that gets covered. So I really don't understand how paper wins. But speaking of paper, I do want to to offer. I haven't started my comedy yet. This is a serious quarantine tip, a quarantine time tip. And you could say quarantine, but why bother? I have so much extra time. So this is a quarantine time, teen, tween, team, all ages tip. So a quarantine tip here, if you're worried about running out of toilet paper, for example. I recommend this simple tip. By the way, I am James Acaster. Meant to say that at the beginning. So a quarantine tip. For anyone who doesn't know James Acaster, I'm him. And for anyone who does, things are different now. So quarantine tip coming right up, right after these previous messages. I like that commercials are viewed as messages. Like, oh, a message I should listen. Is it important? Is it my aunt? Is it my mother? Oh, it's a brand. Oh, it's my mother's brand. Great. I'll buy one my mother, please. So here is... that's a mother joke, but not a yo mama joke. That's a my mama joke. Thank you very much. 8 Mile style. I can make my mama jokes. You can make my mama jokes about you. But anyhow, so here it comes. Aunt, my mama. Okay, here, joke. Please let me finish. Anyone who's not getting in my way. I haven't started yet, but I do want to finish. So, quarantine tip. Sincerely, if you're worried about running out of toilet paper, I recommend not pooping for several weeks. Just try to not poop as much as you can. And if you're worried about running out of food, try to not eat. That will help with the not pooping, 100%. And I do want to make clear that part's a joke. Please, you must eat. Eating is important for health, nutrition, and maintaining your life. But I do sincerely mean to not poop. That part is real. So don't avoid eating, but do avoid pooping. Just take it in. Just inhale, but don't exhale when we're talking about food. This is a joke that I tell every day, whether I'm doing a show or not, because my girlfriend who I live with loves it. Every day she's like, tell that joke. I'm like, I don't have a show. She's like, tell it to me now. So I as a comedian, she's my only live audience. For this past month, she's the only one. So my jokes these days are skewing very much towards things my girlfriend likes. So all the jokes are either don't poop or I love my girlfriend. Those are the main topics that we're covering. So toilet paper, obviously very valuable these days, more valuable than gold, I would say. And look at that. Wait a second. Gold, a rock that you can't wipe your butt with, paper so valuable you can. We have finally found a way that paper does indeed defeat rock. Paper is finally better rock in a meaningful way. In conclusion, I will tell you one joke to demonstrate I am a comedian, and that joke is this. Actually, it's another message. I do have an album coming out on May 8th, and don't worry, this will be half real thing I'm saying, half joke, and half bad math. So, I offer you this. My new album called AKA, out May 8th. It can be pre-ordered now, so pre-order or chaos. It can be chaos now, ordered May 8th. Eventually, you'll have it forever, whatever comes after chaos and order. It's called AKA because the show that Stuart saw me do in Edinburgh in 2018 was called All Killing Aside, because it's about love and compassion and not murdering. So all killing aside. But in these days, saying all killing aside sounds maybe a little tone deaf, kind of like other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? So we decided to abbreviate it AKA. I talked to my mother. She's like, take killing out of it. How about all kidding aside? She suggested. I'm like, that also takes all kidding out of it. So we'll go AKA, which is short for all killing aside for my mother. Also known as, so my show is also known as AKA. Also, my name is Myq Kaplan, spelled weird, and AKA for my real name, my given name at birth, Michael Adam Kaplan. I'm almost to the end of my sort of ask me anything about Michael Adam Kaplan's All Kidding Aside, or my AKA MAKAMA. Hope it went A-OK. The album comes out the 8th of May. Hope you won't stay away. The album is, like my comedy, it's been called Hilarious and Layered, or as I call it, hilarious. So I thank you. I combine those words because we are running out of time, even though it doesn't exist on this infinite sofa. Thank you so much for having me. You've been wonderful.
Myq Kaplan. Incredible. I'm such a fan of comedians who can talk for that long without drawing breath. Thank you, Myq.
Thank you, Stuart.
So much. The album is called AKA. Where can we pre-order it?
If it's iTunes, Apple Music, or if you're like, no, Apple Forbidden Fruit, anywhere else, the record label's name is Blonde Medicine. You can go to blondemedicine.com/AKA, or really just look for Myq Kaplan and AKA anywhere that you think albums might be. You're already way tech savvier than most people by being here. So I trust and believe in you. But if it was up to me, Apple Music or iTunes, you can download and get tracks immediately now, and you'll get the rest of them on May 8th, and I thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Give it up one more time for Myq Kaplan. And now, everybody, breathe. Was anyone else holding their breath during that? I caught myself holding my breath. You know when you do like a yoga class or something and the instructor says, remember to breathe, and half the time you think, you fucking idiot, of course I'm going to breathe. And the rest of the time you think, that's what I mentioned it. Let's go back to Charles, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing, Charles?
I'm doing fine, except I've discovered a slight technical problem.
Run out of paper.
People are posing. It's hard for me to tell them to stop posing. Because I don't want to interrupt the speaker, and I'm trying to type messages saying, okay, it's finished, but they can't see the message because they're
Genuinely hilarious that this didn't for me or anyone else on the sofa. Thank you for this, Charles. Can you show us some of the...
I've been, yes, yeah, this is
I
Josh.
stood facing the wall for like 5-10 minutes.
And this is one I did of Josh and Norbert. So there's the two of them together.
Josh and Nisha.
So when you messaged okay, was that you saying you were done?
That was me saying it's okay.
I thought that was you saying you were starting.
No.
Okay,
You're finishing your silhouette, and here you are. Look, there you are.
Joshua,
Great,
that is fantastic. And I don't. Whereabouts are you, Joshua? Are you somewhere that Charles could conceivably post it to you, or should we just ask him to press it against his webcam? And
I live in Woodford, so
you can take a screenshot. I'm happy.
Take a screenshot.
Message me your address or something.
Quick screen grab.
Okay, yeah, I'll
Thank you so much.
There we go.
That's absolutely brilliant.
Thank
And now,
you.
if you could hold up Josh and Nishan's one there, could you hold that up nice and close to the camera, please?
Yes, there's Josh and Nishan. There we are. That's the two
Look
of them.
at that. Absolutely fantastic. We'll just, there we go. Superb. Thank you so much. If anyone else would like one of these, feel free to make yourselves known with a wave right now. If you're at home, I mean, obviously you're all at home. My point is, you've got to be
I'm going to get
silhouette is not a mind reader. We have one of those coming up later on. You need to be a mind reader to work out some of these jokes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to mention briefly, thank you to Callum's Mac, Mia, Sophie, EVK, Mr. Plumbers, and Nonny Mouse for the donations that have been coming in so far. I'm pleased to reveal currently the highest tip of the show, and looking like he might be able to teleport in very soon, is Callum's Mac with the tip of £25. There's just about 1 minute left if you want to get in with a super big donation, and a super big donation. Professional agency person. If you want to get in and try and beat £25 to pip Callum's Mac at the post and get in and join the sofa, then please feel free. I'm just going to very briefly cut to Charles, because you were doing a sort of mime like that, and I wondered if
I was just suggesting that Alex and Chris could pose face to face.
Oh, lovely. Thank you, Alex and Chris. I hope you got that. Please pose face to face. Now, listen. If you are watching this show on Twitch, please give us a follow. You can subscribe if you like. It costs you some money. But if you're an Amazon Prime customer, you can subscribe for free by linking your Amazon Prime account to twitch.tv/Stu Goldsmith. Eventually, we'll produce a video that tells you how to do that. But I do know that Richard Herring has such a video on his site. So maybe you could search on YouTube and just Herring. Oh, okay, Herring. Stu Goldsmith. What do you think, Harry? Do feel free to do that. I'm having an absolute whale of a time on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to play a very quick audience game, like a 30-second one, and then we're going to welcome our next fabulous comedian, brilliant musical comedian. Katie Pritchard is going to be with us in just a moment. I don't even know if we've got time for this, but I want to do it. I'll tell you what we'll do. Everyone now, this is a game called Get a Thing. I would like you, please, everyone on the sofa, take your headphones out, run off and get the thing in your room that you are most ashamed to own. Get it, bring it back now, and we'll play with them later on. We'll learn them later on. Quickly, the person who gets back last gets thrown into the waiting 30 seconds of sin bin while we all talk about them behind their back. Marvellous. Apologies, Charles, if that's made people run away when you should have been silhouette, but they'll be back in just a moment. The thing that people are most ashamed of. And while we're doing that, let's just quickly go to Bean. Bean, what have you got there?
What have you got?
Well, this is a framed print of the cover of James Acaster's new book. I made myself.
You can't be ashamed of a thing that's connected to our fabulous guest comedian, James Acaster.
That is why I'm ashamed of it.
You're ashamed. That is an Inception-style shame. That's a Robin-style shame. Well, and I will not tread on that.
Well, there's a lot of things. Like this is the cross stitch I made of one of his quotes. I also have
Oh my God.
It's
Okay.
a bit intense.
This is getting better. This is getting better, by which I mean worse. Ladies and gentlemen, let's just check if everyone's returned. Over here, Josh and Nishat, they're just about back in time. Who's this? Neil. Neil has not returned. So let's just judge his answer. Oh, God. Did anyone else think? Just for a second. Never mind. Okay. Yeah, then, ladies and gentlemen, as soon as everyone's back, we're going to look at some of these shame objects later on. And also, we will, let's crack on. Ladies and gentlemen, this next act is one of my absolute favourite new acts. I'm so excited by everything she does and everything she says. Don't want to set the thing too high there. Set the bar too high. Would you please welcome Katie Pritchard? So much. Katie, ignoring for a moment, Katie, Alex and Chris, who appear to have completely lost interest in you and the How are you doing, Katie? Whereabouts are you? How's your lockdown?
I'm good. I'm just in South London, having a really good time with my dinosaur light.
That is absolutely spectacular. My son would go a bundle for that. Give it to me. Is that you?
No, sorry. Let me mute myself.
In a minute. To me, it sounds like Joshua's voice. Let's go over to Joshua.
Me?
You?
I do not know what that is. That's
Who is it?
terrifying.
Who is it? Let's find out. Hands up. Who was that? It was Dan. Dan, what the hell was that, man?
Let me unmute that. Hang on. Right. It was. I didn't know it made that noise.
You were joining in with Katie's fabulous fluorescent dinosaur, but you didn't realize that the object in your hand sings the Mogwai song from the film Gremlins.
Yes, now making me more ashamed of owning it than before.
Nice. That works very nicely. Now, Katie, I'm sorry, I've introduced you to the show and then immediately... I'm sorry. Katie, why don't you tell us what you've got for us this evening?
Yeah, well, I thought I'd do some observational comedy. You ready?
Go for it.
So, has anybody here ever been in the shower? Okay, good start. And then there's been a spider in it.
Yep.
Yeah. Am I right? What I've done, guys, is I've written a little song about it. Okay, here we go. There's a spider in the shower looking at me, purring on me. There's a spider in the shower looking at me, purring on me. Oi, don't come near me, son, or you're really gonna get some. Stop looking at my wet and glistening hair and then crawling away like you don't care. There's a spider in the shower looking at me, purring on me. There's a spider in the shower. Oi, looking at me. You've moved. Why are you above me? Stop crawling towards me. I'm gonna get your cobweb wet. Stop trying to get a better view of me. Old costume. Yeah, I'm a spider in the shower looking at you, purring on you, yeah. I'm a spider in the shower. Oi, what are you gonna do? You think I'm hot while you're getting clean, but really, you're just mean. Giving me a glimpse, then turning away. I'll follow you all through the day, because I'm a spider in the shower looking at you, purring on you, yeah. I'm a spider in the shower. Oi, anybody here ever seen a spider on your pillow late at night? Yeah, it's just wait until you fall asleep, then it's going to teabag you and you never know. Anybody here ever seen a spider on the wall? Yeah, he's just remembering that shower he watched you take and having a good time. Spider, get out the shower. No, I'm going to stay in here and watch you forever. No, I'm going to get you in the water. No, please don't. It's not my time to die. No. Pervert. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely fantastic, Katie. I know you've got another song for us. Before we forget, as we rattle on through the show. No, it's all right. In fact, I'm sorry I interrupted. I just wanted to point out that we're teleporting someone in at the end of your set. And I just wanted to point out that Sir Blackhand donated £30, but just missed the deadline by a minute. So we've decided not to let them in. Instead, we're going to roll them forward and see if they can get in next week, just to increase the jeopardy and make sure that it's fastest fingers first next time. Katie, let's go back to you for another number.
Okay, guys. So before I start, a lot of people have said to me this year. They've said, Katie, it's all very well you prancing around like a very realistic looking spider, but at some point you've got to talk about something that people actually care about. So with that in mind, I'm going to talk about history. We got any history fans in tonight? Basically, what I am is I'm a self-appointed freelance historical tour guide. And then basically what I like to do is I like to bring history to life before your very eyes. Now some people have said that I'm a better history teacher than that Tony Robinson from the Time Team. Okay, I know it's a very bold statement, but I've got to agree. I mean, he does have the gizmos that can see into the ground, but does he have the costumes and the chutzpah to bring it to life? So with that in mind, we're going to get into my next costume. Now, I should probably point out, you probably guessed already, but I'll point it out anyway. Yes, I'm an incredibly high-budget comedian that can afford things that definitely look like the things they're supposed to be looking like. Okay, here we go. Okay, any guesses?
No.
Viking.
Yes.
Viking.
Viking. Thanks for guessing. It's I'm looking for a specific person, not a vibe. I love it.
Joan of Arc.
Joan of Arc, yes, obviously, Joan of Arc. Yeah, everyone can see it, right?
Oh, that's the thing.
So, who was that guessed that?
It was me.
Maggie.
Maggie. Thanks so much, Maggie. Sometimes no one guesses that. I know, it's ridiculous, right? So yeah, I'm going to be Joan of Arc. So let's go back in time. It's the 1400s, and Joan is leading France's army into battle. Bonjour. Je suis Joan of Arc. How's it going? That's what I might be illiterate and I might work on a farm, but the voice of God has spoken to me and I'm besotted by his charm. I don't care if mom and dad don't understand my quest, but I've been told to protect France, so I'll do my fucking best. I'll be a hero. I'll be a hero with voices at night. I don't understand all the words that they said, but they made eternal life sound quite nice. Just be a hero, and I'll dress like a man because, well, I fail to protect me because I don't want to die in this fight. That's my name, remember it. I'm going to be buried by my from and die. Joan. But actually have to fight. I thought I'd just cheer them on. This chainmail is chafing my chuffing on. It's witching. What do they warn me? Through the wind and the chill and the rain. My choice I'm questioning. They say don't trust your dreams when you've had lots of cheese. When you've had lots of cheese. Oh, I had lots of cheese. We say mange, they fromage. Oh, baby bells, I ate some cheese. I sang with the camembert, then croissant, then brie on some Philadelphia. And here I am being burnt on a spike because I cross-dressed through the night. Just me on fire. See how realistic that is, yeah? We get Tony Robinson sewing that on himself, would you? No? 20 minutes. Just be a hero.
Incredible, ladies and gentlemen. Please join me in thanking the wonderful Katie Pritchard, the hero. Katie, where can we find you online and donate huge sums of money to you in order that you make beautiful portraits?
Yes, I've got a coffee account actually. I've seen some people in the Zoom sofa actually have had portraits done. But basically, if you want me to ruin, Holly, if you want me to ruin a photo, I do like cartoons of your photos. They're only £5, but it's really helping me afford food. So if anyone fancies a photo getting ruined, it's on coffee.com/Katie Pritchard's.
And that coffee spelled KO-FI, as in Kofi and Nan if he were two separate people. Coffee.com. Katie, well, that's just obvious, isn't it? And then Katie puts an S on the end.
Yeah, I mean, when I signed up to Twitter, that's what I decided to do, and it's been the bane of my life ever since. And so everything is spelt like that now.
Thank you so much for joining us, Katie Pritchard, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely fantastic, wonderful act. And my favourite comment out of everyone on the chat was Spiffy Cakes, who said, "I applaud the commitment to the bit." And as a watchword, I think we should start getting. David, make a note, please, of our latest catchphrase / potential T-shirt idea. No money there to Spiffy Cakes, but thanks for the donation. I applaud the commitment to the bit. Absolutely love it. You remember, on the subject of donations, we had a teleportee, someone who donated to the show, as you can at infinitesofa.com if you want a chance to be on next Thursday's show with Ramesh Ranganathan, John Luke Roberts, someone shaving their wife's head, and a third person that it's Suze Kempner. Suze Kempner's going to come on and do something batty about Sonic the Hedgehog. I can't wait for all of that. So you can go to infinitesofa.com to donate, or hit the donate button under the Twitch window thing that you're paying attention to now. Before we get to your shameful objects, let's go back to Charles. How is Charles doing? Have we got another thing to look at? Here we are. Charles, you're currently... There we are.
Who is this to? This is Alex and Chris.
Oh, fantastic.
Nice.
That's lovely. Let's just go to Alex and Chris. Having been insulted earlier on by the suggestion you looked up American Gothic painting, you've actually come out of it rather well. And well done to Charles's eyes for being able to see through the massive blur that resides on no doubt webcam. And who else do we have here?
This is Matthias.
Matthias, ladies and gentlemen, it's Matthias. Let's just go over to Matthias. Where is he? Somewhere on the screen. This is one of the downsides of having so many people here. Is he left? Can anyone see Matthias? Matthias, give us a... Oh, there you are. There you are. Let's go to Matthias. Can you briefly turn left for us, Matthias, and we'll just check out that sweet profile. Look at that. That's fantastic. You can almost look... you can almost tell he's German from the silhouette, is all I'm saying. And it said German or potentially even Norwegian. You look a bit like the grandfather in Frozen 2. That's a pretty deep cut there. Anyone with Charles, keep cracking on for us, please. We're going to move along with the show.
Wave. Anyone else who'd like one done?
Oh, let's have a wave if anyone else would like.
Heather and Francis.
Heather or Francis, feel free to crack on with those. We are fast approaching the end of the show. We're already far later than we should be at this section of the show. But sod it, I'm enjoying myself. Let's look at some of your shameful objects. People on the sofa, give us a wave if you have a shameful object that you managed to bring back. Let's go to Moz and Helen over there. Hello, Moz and Helen. Which one's which? Oh, here we are.
Awesome.
That is absolutely fantastic. Can I ask whose object that is? What I like about you two is you've yet to speak, but every time we see you, you're kind of grassing each other up. What have we got? Matthias, did you bring an incredibly shameful object? Dare we go there? Thank God it's a candelabra. Here we are. Lovely looking stuff. Anna, let's go over to Anna. What have you got in the way of shame?
Well, I've got a lava lamp, and I thought with it being 2020, no one should own one of those. So
that is fair, and I thank God that you didn't pick up the gonzo behind you, because I would literally have kicked you out.
Of course not.
David Hoare has got something to say. He's raising his hand rather pathetically.
I burnt my hand trying to pick up a lava lamp that was on. That was my shameful object.
Classic David. David, can you prepare us a sting for whenever I say classic David?
I also have a shameful object, which is a tripod, which I already had lost one leg, and then I just broke it again.
second leg off a tripod. It is now a unipod. Poor you, David. Let's see. Now, Phil. Phil, let's go over to Phil. Hello there, Phil. Thanks for joining us. You've rocked your head back there as if to say, Christ, I've gotten away with not featuring. Sadly, not the case. Phil, what have you got? Is that a bottle of your own urine? What's going on here?
That is a bottle of banana-flavoured milk that I've had on my sideboard for the past 3 weeks.
Oh my God. That's pretty shameful. I don't know
just
if
a
it's
bit.
winner. Let's go over to Francis. What have you got that's shameful there, Francis? What's your most shameful object?
I have a large cardboard duck. I wish I could say that I made it when I was a child, but I feel like I was in maybe 11th grade. It's a model of a smaller duck that
That's all we need to know. A model of a smaller duck. Now, what we need to do is, I'm just loaded it earlier. Here we go. Acaster is coming on. That's what I call him in my family. My son refers to him as Acaster. Funny story about Acaster's cohort in the Off Menu podcast. Publicising his new heavy metal podcast, Ed Gamble was on the Chris Hawkins radio show on BBC Six Music the other day, and my son recognised him and went, "Is that Ed Gamble?" Because he's a dearly loved, it feels like a member of the family in many ways. And my son insisted on getting in touch with Chris Hawkins on BBC Six Music to tell him that we knew Ed Gamble. So we tweeted him. We bloody read it out. It was genuinely incredibly good part of the day. Now, I noticed there, David, that occasionally I had forgotten to spotlight myself. And so as I told that story, the camera was taken away from my face. It's specifically your job to stop that from happening. What have you got to say for yourself?
I thought you were
Not good enough. Okay, so moving on to a couple more shameful objects. What has Kath got for us down there? Not the cat, surely.
Can you hear me through this?
Yes, I can. Yes, hello, Kath. Whereabouts are you in the world, Kath?
I'm in Sydney.
Thanks so much for joining us from Sydney. What time is it in Sydney?
It is 5:47 in the morning.
Oh, absolute hero. But the correct answer is it's shame o'clock. What have you got?
Stupid o'clock. This is shameful because the bow broke about 10 years ago and I haven't replaced it, and so it's just sat gathering dust and not being played.
Can you actually play it?
No, not really.
That's
Play that though.
Oh, what's that? What can you play? Let me just spotlight you
I
again.
can play the piano.
Yeah, I mean, sure. We can all play the piano, mate. I absolutely cannot play the piano. Now, let's just go to celebrity guest star, the godfather of New Zealand comedy, who has recently joined us in the room. It's my friend, Scott Blanks. Hey, Scott, how you doing?
Yeah, is that coming through? I'm having awful problems with my signal here.
Yes, but it is funny the way you pronounce signal, so that'll cover us for now. Scott, you get a chance.
Signal? How do you say signal?
No one here can say it as well as you. Now, the Australian, I fear, the Australian Kath to some, has slightly stolen your thunder by, I think it's even earlier where she is than where you are. What time in the morning is it where you are, Scott?
About 10 to 8, I think.
10 to 8. Now, yeah, I mean, that would be more impressive if someone at 47 hadn't just rung in. But Scott, thank you so much for joining us. Do you have a shameful object before we get into the real reason you're here?
I went looking for one, and no, I didn't have. I couldn't find one easily. All I had was kids' toys. I was surrounded by kids' toys because they're everywhere.
Good point out. Scott has children.
Yeah, from lockdown, the toys are everywhere. Yeah.
So, Scott, we're going to come back to you in just a moment when James is on the show, because you're top buddies with James, and you're sitting in. I mean. You're in Auckland. You have one of the most wonderful comedy clubs in the world, the Classic. It's New Zealand's only open every day of the year comedy club. And your entire festival has been completely buggered by the pandemic, as my wife refers to it, the Panny D. But I believe there is... She bloody does, you know. I believe there is some good news ahead for the people of New Zealand. What's happening tonight?
Do you mean like last night, midnight last night?
Last night. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, remember, we're in yesterday. No, we're in tomorrow. Yeah. So we went from level 4 to level 3. Now, I mean, who knew all these levels existed a month ago? But we've got level 4. We've gone to level 3 now, Stu.
You're on level 3. So what does that mean? Does that mean you're still locked down, or does it mean you can get out and run around?
It means you can get takeaway fries.
Oh, to hear it. What is the vibe like in New Zealand? Are you all thrilled that you've got Jacinda in charge? Because she seems to be absolutely bossing it.
Well, we've got it's a very good day to be going from level 4 to level 3 because we have managed to get our numbers down to practically zero. There are now only 300 people in New Zealand with a positive have tested positive. We know their first names. The government knows their first names. We also
really sounds like rounding them up is on the agenda. I don't like you.
No, and we also know the first names of everyone who gave them the infection. So and we've got 0 new infections. So we've almost squashed it.
Well, fortunately, everyone in New Zealand shares the same surname, so they should be easy to find. Scott, just a second. Stay with us, Scott. A couple of things to tell you. I'm briefly going to go to the chat to let you know that I have permitted the term perving. The bot prevented someone from saying someone was perving over something, and I've permitted it. So we'll just briefly go to the chat. There's loads of chat. Thank you all for participating. Ross M84 says this is the only game where you want to go down the levels, hoping to complete COVID-19 before COVID-20 comes out. Lords New Zealand. There's some chat between Dawish and Ken Shirome 83 about what grades. I think we're talking about what grades mean in America. The only way I work out American grades is I know Bart Simpson is in 4th grade and he's 10, says Fireball Darren. Thanks for Lady insert name here says James Acaster, deploy the boy, Ed Gamble. And Mr. Plumbers says big duck, small duck, cardboard box. So if the level of chat around here is absolutely first class. There's the proof. Before we go on with the show and welcome our fantastic headline guest, or indeed guests, to the show. Last show, we played a very special game of hide and seek. And the absolute winner of hide and seek was Ian. This is Ian, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I don't want you to tell us where you hid, Ian. Regular viewers of the show might have. Producer Callum is going to rack up a slide now, which was sent in, a JPEG sent in by a member of the viewing public when I challenged everybody to play Spot the Ian. Callum, if you're able to bung it online now, if you're able to share your video, I should probably, it's up, he says. Let's see, whereabouts is it up? Can I spotlight it? I don't think I can. This is one of those magical moments where nothing happens.
On the Twitch screen, so it's not on the Zoom call.
Say that again?
It's up on the Twitch screen, so it's not on the Zoom
It's
call.
on the Twitch screen. Thank you so much. That's the sort of information that I feel like David Horsham told me. It's a picture of my face looking at what we're there reliving is my moment of anxiety earlier on. So are we going to... He's holding it up. Look, I mean, basically, it's a one-note gag, and I think we fucked it. But
go team!
I like to think that everyone watching at Twitch, discounting everyone in the live sofa audience, had a really good laugh at that, and I can only say I'm terribly sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time we invited our headline guest to the sofa. If you're there, please make yourself known. And wave at me. Hello, there he is, ladies and gentlemen. It's bloody James Acaster. Hello, thank you so much for joining us. How are you? Where are you? Are you safe?
Yes, I'm very safe. I'm in my flat, and to be honest, pretty good situation, so nothing to complain about.
James, have you got the head of a bear mounted to the wall behind you?
Yeah.
Is what you said, yeah?
Yeah, that's a bear wearing a fez. I got it in Lahnstein in Germany, which is Kettering's twin town.
Is that the sort of thing they do in Lahnstein? I mean, would that be considered an oddity in Lahnstein, or is it part of the course over there?
I think they're kind of knocking about. You can find them. But my friend Stuart Laws bought it and then used it to try and scare and then was kind enough to give it to me at the end of the trip that we went on. So then when I moved into this flat, there was a little hook on the wall there anyway, and I thought, I know what's going on there. The fez was here already. The fez was already in the flat, in the kitchen. The previous occupant had left a fez behind.
There is absolutely no way that's a real thing that happened.
That's what happened. I'm not Joel Dommett. That happened. And there was a fez on the side. And it was the week while I was doing the studio record for Taskmaster. And I got in, I found this fez in the flat. And then I went into Taskmaster. And one of the tasks that other members of the cast had been given, but not me, was to take a photo of themselves wearing a fez. And I'd done that one as well. So as soon as I got in my flat, I'd seen the fez, put it on, and sent a photo to all of my mates. So should have won Taskmaster is what I'm saying, and I'm very annoyed still.
I feel your pain. I'm just going to go to the audience for a quick quiz question for the sofa audience, and feel free, you can join in on the chat as well. Can you tell me, please, who was second place in the second ever Taskmaster before it became a TV show? Any ideas? Hands up if you've got an idea. Neil, you're exhaling there as if you know. You're a big comedy fan. You should know. The winner of the second ever real life Taskmaster was Josie Long. And who did she steal victory from?
Was it you?
It was bloody Goldsmith, ladies and gentlemen. Be damned, I was fitting so many more grapes in my mouth than Josie Long did. One of them fell down the back of my throat. I gagged. I've got an esophageal hernia, which means I can't. It doesn't matter. But my point is, feel your pain. I'm similarly robbed.
How you feel? I learnt to hula for 8 weeks, hula hoop, and then I got robbed. So
You got what? You got what from hula hooping?
I hula hooped for. I had to learn a hula hoop. It took me 8 weeks, and I was practicing constantly. And then on the night, I choked because I got in my own head, and I only got 2 points for it.
I'm so sorry to hear that. We just had
it paid off because one of my main ways I've been exercising during lockdown is hula hooping. Yeah. Every day in my living room for 20 minutes. It's great.
There is no way you can't show us that. You are not leaving. Ladies and gentlemen, it's oh my god! Please don't crash your computer.
Oh shit! Okay. That's kind of fucked the wall up.
God, it could have been worse. It could have been your computer that you fucked up. Just before we move on to a little guest for you, can you just talk us through the other animal wearing something else on its head that's visible behind you?
That's a puppet of myself.
Can we have a look at it?
Yeah, this was okay, here it is. This was another TV show I did called Hypothetical, and they made puppets of us. That's a badge. That's the badge that I had to wear on Pointless. That's for the class of 2016. It's the greatest year for music of all time. And my friend Joe Williams was given this cap on a hen do.
I think that's absolutely lovely, James, but I do want to apologise that I didn't make it clear how invasive this show would be. I really appreciate it.
I should actually just have this here. I do it's a good little talent, little sidekick to have the whole time.
Lovely.
Use him in a what?
Can you do a bit of a vent act for us? Bit of ventriloquism?
Hey, Stuart. You know what I love about this show? Is that clearly your favourite audience member is Matthias. Every time you talk about him, you're way happier than you are talking about the others.
Wisdom of a humble puppet. Now, James, we've got a friend of both of ours in the show. James, look, it's only bloody lovely Scott Blanks.
Scotty!
Hey, James.
Good to see you. How are you?
Good to see you. Good to know that you're all still alive.
Now, it's one of those moments when I've realised there's no way I can split the screen into just the two of you, and what could be a lovely reunion could end up being eggy as fuck. So I hope one of you's got a conversational angle to jump in with. Hands up if you've got an angle.
No.
No? Well, you voted first, so Scott, please don't let this thing die.
I didn't build my career on an angle.
I'm just pleased to know that everyone's still kicking around over there. I mean, you still have a comedy scene on screen. We haven't quite cracked it at this end yet. So, and that's the beauty of being able to have things like this. Being able to see people like you, Stu and James, from 12,000 miles away. I mean, it's and you're doing such a good job on the show, Stu, with all these big guests.
Don't quote me on this. Don't quote me on this, Scott. But I think the internet is going to change everyone's lives.
What about live comedy clubs? How's that going to go with the internet?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, God knows. Hopefully I don't mean hopefully. There's a chance they all close, and this is the only show left available. Now, Scott, you run an incredible show and an incredible comedy club, and it is a matter of public record because I've said it in an interview that was quoted in a paper that when I grow up, I want to be you. So, James, who do you want to be when you grow up?
When I grow up, I would like to be, probably Natasha Lyonne's character in Russian Doll.
Natasha Lyon in Russian Doll. I know who that is. Yeah, Russian Doll's great.
I'd like to be her character in that when I'm older.
I feel like that's a bit of as possible as me becoming Scott Blanks. Scott, who would you like to be when you grow up?
You do know how old I am, don't you?
I do, but I'm trying to be nice.
Someone good. One of my heroes, probably. Who's a good hero? So, comedy hero. Someone like.
Oh, you're too kind, honestly, Scott. Stop. No.
Someone like I'm trying to think of a comedy hero. It would probably be a Python. I'm addicted to the old Pythons, so probably a Michael Palin.
Oh yeah, I mean, to be fair, I mean, you only need to grow up for a further 5 years or so, and you're absolutely going to nail that. So, listen, James, something I've realised that anyone could have pointed out at any point, and it's actually been flashing and double highlight for me on a live chat I share with my producer, and certainly something that's escaped David Hoare's notice, because he's capable of waving at me, is we threatened to teleport someone in. They paid a shitload of money, and we've just left them in the waiting room. So, ladies and gentlemen, have now welcome to the show, James Burry. Here he is, James, ladies and gentlemen. Hey. Friend of the show, James, thank you for that donation. Many apologies for leaving you there. I feel like the only way to make it up to you is by allowing you to hold a brief mini interview with James Acaster. James Acaster, is that all right with you?
Yeah. Hello, mate. Thanks for all your money.
James, we may need to talk about what happens to that money, but that's fine. So you're going to spotlight James Burry. You can ask James a question, and I will hop between you.
Oh, yes. Just been a big fan of this show and of James Acaster, so I just wanted to contribute. I honestly didn't have any questions prepared.
Does anyone else think that all the way over there in Canada, James doesn't know who James Acaster is?
I've done gigs in Canada before.
I actually have his book right here.
Boom!
Oh, he's got his book. Oh.
Boom, boom, boom.
That's more money.
Netflix specials, you idiot.
Yes, Netflix specials, of course.
And I've seen the Netflix specials, and I pirate a lot of British TV.
So he pirates a lot of British TV. Before we go any further, David, can you just take a note? Boom, boom, boom. Fuck you, Goldsmith. That's potentially another thing. James Acaster, do you have anything you'd like to ask James Burry?
Yes, James, I like your Pepsi sign in the background. Under lockdown, I've been drinking a lot of Pepsi Max. I would like to know if you can get a Pepsi Max version of the sign you've got and where I can get it from.
It's an antique. I bought it at an actual antiques place. It cost me like $50. It's the cheapest thing there. So it's the top of an actual cooler from a convenience.
I absolutely love it.
An actual cooler. That's cool as fuck. James Acaster, do you have any antiques in your house?
Oh, good question, Stu. Stole this duck. I don't know if anything else would be an antique here. Probably not. You know, I get a lot of my shit new.
Well, I tell you what we can introduce you to, James. By request, we can introduce you to the antique art of mind reading.
Yes.
It's actually easier to simply pretend there's a different camera rather than fuck about with a different camera and just go. It's fun. So, James, we are going to welcome now to the show your friend and mine and a genuine mind reader. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, with a huge round of applause, Myq Mohammed. Myq, thank you so much for joining us on the show. You are better known as the brilliant character comedian. Well, you're not better known. You play the brilliant character comedian Mr. Swallow. And you are better known as the writer and star of a fabulous new Sky show with David Schwimmer, the name of which embarrassingly escapes me.
Oh, don't worry. Intelligence.
Intelligence. Thank you so much.
Stuart.
When Myq, in your secret other life, however, you are actually a proper magician. Is that right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I should prefix this whole bit as that it might not work, and so I guess you'll be the judge of that. But yeah, I mean, I started.
No. The thing about mentalism is it 100% of the time definitely works on pain of death. I thought.
Yeah. That's right. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Ladies and gentlemen, some shaky mentalism. Now, before we welcome, oh my God, I've got too many people in the room. David, make a note. With this many people on the sofa, I literally can't find anyone I need to highlight. James Acaster, have you ever had your mind read before?
No. No one has penetrated these walls before. To see someone try.
Okay. To your knowledge, have you ever tried? Have you ever seen a clairvoyant or anything like that? Have you ever had any kind of mystical experiences?
Someone tried to hypnotize me once. That was very embarrassing. It didn't work, and I had to and it was like my uncle's new girlfriend. And it was very, I didn't know her very well yet, and she was saying she was a great hypnotist. I was like, hypnotize me. I've always wanted to be hypnotized, and then it totally didn't work. It took so long. It took like half an hour, and then at the end, it was like that did not work because my mind is too strong, and so that's why mentalism is exciting.
Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited by mentalism as well. Nick, would you like to explain what you're going to do for us and how this is all set up?
Okay, so what I'm gonna, so I can't see. Oh, can I see James? Okay, so I can see James on a little square there. So what we're going to do, so basically, in brief, James is thinking of a film, and we're going to go into, I'll go into a bit of detail about how this has come about in a second. But what I want to try and do is sort of explain the process of how I might, whether this works or not, but what I'm trying to look for in terms of some tells that hopefully James is going to give away. Now, the only thing that I've asked James is, you've got a pen and paper, haven't you, James?
Yes.
You have. Okay. So what I want you to write, can you write down the name of the film, obviously so that no one can see?
Okay.
That I can't see, obviously. I'm just to prove, and the thing is, it's so so difficult to prove that the kind of the restrictions, because obviously if this was a live thing, you'd be able to see that there's no way I can kind of control this in any other way. You're just going to sort of have to trust me. I'm gonna basically blindfold myself. I'm going to do it by putting some coins in my eyes and taping them into place, and then basically wrapping my head in tin foil just to prove. I'm going to get James to basically show the camera the name of the film so that everyone on the sofa can see, and so Stu can see as well. I'm going to turn
here among us can honestly say they have never put coins in their eyes and wrapped their head in.
It's basically what they used to do. So let me just...
What they used to do back in the days before the advent of tin foil. James, how are you feeling about this? Do you feel like he's going to be in with a chance of breaking through your impenetrable mental fortress?
Are you kidding me? He's putting coins in his eyes and wrapping his head in tinfoil. That makes it harder, I think.
Just like to say, over on the chat, Nanonic says, oil him up and stick him in the oven for an hour. That's a cracking. And I've used the term mentalist, meaning someone who studies mentalism.
James?
Yes.
James, can you? So listen. I'm going to turn away as well, because I've realised that this tinfoil isn't actually long enough. without me holding it anyway. But what I want you to do is to hold it up so that people at home as it were can see. And I'm gonna turn away, obviously.
Okay.
Okay, one sec. Let's go to James. We can all see that. Everyone keep stum. No one mentioned the movie that James is holding up there. We're all pretty confident of that. We'll just go to everyone on the sofa. Can you give me a thumbs up if you saw that? Remain silent. Thank you. Okay, let's go back to Nick Mohammed.
Yeah. Okay. So and I'm all right to turn. I just don't want anyone to think that I can see in any kind of way. But
Yeah, no, you're fine. James has put away the piece of paper.
Yes. Okay. Great. So check. I might. It's annoying that doesn't stay on, but you can't. I can take these off for now because. Okay. So let me explain to you a little bit about how this came about. So I knew that James wanted to do some mentalism, and so I and Shu had passed this on. So I emailed James and I said, I want you to think of a film. Now, James, can you just describe then what happened in that email chain, because this is actually part of this whole ploy. Basically, I'm hoping that I have planted an idea in your head that's going to basically restrict the choice of film that you've gone for. That's what I'm hoping. It might not have worked, and we'll be able to see in a second whether it's worked or not. But can you describe it, because I want to see what your memory of what happened is, rather than me say.
Yes, you emailed me saying, here is a link to a list of 100 films and the pictures of the DVD covers or whatever, the posters for those films.
Yeah.
I need you to click the link, look at them, think of one in your mind and write it down. And then you went, oh, by the way, sometimes the link doesn't work and takes you straight to Google. And if that happens, just Google the name of the film and do it that way. And I clicked on the link and it went to Google. And I thought, I'll try it again, and did it again. And then it went to just like page not found, not identified, all that kind of stuff. So then I emailed you back going, this isn't working, Nick. And then you were like, okay, try this link maybe. There's a different link, and that wasn't working.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm just going to Google one myself on normal Google and find it. And I'll think of it in my mind.
Yeah.
And he said, cool, do it that way.
Yeah.
And then I was like, because I was suspicious for a while that the link you sent me was like some super hacker shit. And I was going to Google on your page, Google, and then you were going to see what I'd Googled, and then find. I'm not going to fall for this. But now the way it's been done, I can't see how you would have got into my head.
Okay, so everything that basically James has said is completely true. So I'm going to now let you in on a secret, James. So that was all a big ploy. Those links were never meant to work at all. So what that was meant to do was to put you into not a sort of a state of panic, that would be kind of taking it too far, but to make sure that you basically to make you think that there was something else kind of going on before you chose your film. So that's very important. Now the next thing I need to ask, and people can, I guess, do it from like a nod of the head, or you can answer, James. Just it's the only kind of question I'm going to ask outright. Is this a film that most people will have heard of? That's the only question I will ask.
I do feel like you've been in my head since those emails, and even more now. But no complaints. I get quite lonely under self-isolation. I'm glad to have another person in my head. That is the opposite of 2 meters away, Mohammed, in my actual brain.
Can we, Stu, can you do something? Can you do it so that it's just James on the screen so I can see him? Big.
Yeah, sure thing. I'm going to spotlight in there.
Yeah, there, like that. Yeah,
yep.
Brilliant. So, James, I'm going to ask you some questions. To a degree. I'm going to see if we can sort of. Is your name's James Acaster, right?
Yes.
Have any brothers and sisters?
Do I have any brothers and sisters? Yes.
Yeah. And is that true?
Yes.
Good. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so it so might not work. Okay, so I think when I asked you to think of a film, I deliberately hoped that you wouldn't go for something that you just recently seen at the cinema, which I'm thinking is probably true. God, it's so difficult doing this through Zoom. Oh man. But you see this film recently, but it's not a recent film. Is that correct? Is that why I'm getting confused?
I haven't seen it recently, but I saw it mentioned in something recently.
Oh crikey! I'm not going to try. Okay. I'm gonna say I don't think that this is. I think this is something that.
It's gonna be amazing.
Is it? You know what? This isn't. That's not going to work. Can you think of a particular? You know how I said in the email thread, think of an image, sort of in if there's like a famous image, sort of associated with film or poster shot or something like that. Is there one for this film without saying obviously what it is? Oh, you've frozen, James.
Oh no. Oh no.
Really got in his head.
You don't need me to tell you how bad I need a wee now. I was on the verge before, and now there's been 15 minutes of admitting that this happened. It's looking bleak, but the stream is back. I'm back in the chat to see that PS Twitch is saying how much coke to get Sean Ryder high. And Ken Shiromi 83 says, this is some good hold music. Is it royalty free? Who knows? Ladies and gentlemen, let's see who we have back. Thank you so much for staying. Let's see if Charles is still here.
Yes, I'm back again.
And James is here. So Charles is here. Thank you for still being with us, Charles. Thank you for still being with us, Nick. And I believe James is here. James, you're back as well. Oh my God.
Try, Nick. You think I was born yesterday? Kick me out the room and get everyone to tell you what I wrote on a piece of paper?
Am I right in thinking
yes.
that Nick has yet to guess the film? Nick, have you yet to make your assertion?
So what has happened is, because we didn't know how long the delay was going on for, but Callum has recorded the Zoom output. So I don't know, it's going to be the weirdest edit in history. But basically, you will be able to see what I did. But I basically, because obviously all the people who were still on the Zoom knew what the film was. So because I didn't know if James or you were coming back. So I confessed.
Hold on, Nick. Before you confess anything, I just want to double check the situation. James doesn't yet know what you said. I don't know what you said.
No.
So is there any way you can do it now as a reveal for James, or is the...
Yes, I can, because but everyone else, in terms of their reaction, they know that, and I'll be honest, I've got it right.
Let's spotlight it on James's face as you tell him.
I got it right, James. In that email, you won't be able to find it, but there were little things that were hinting at what I wanted you to think of. The film I was wanting you to think of was Singing in the Rain. I think that's what you went for. Is that right?
It is what I went for.
But to prove it, and you'll be able to rewind the video or go and look at the recording that Callum's made. I had stuck to my chest under here. I had this, which had the little poster of it to prove that.
That's the poster I had in my head. That's the poster I was visualizing. Was that exact image?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's almost as if Nick Mohammed has managed to crack the impregnable fortress of James Acaster. Would you please give it up for James Acaster? And also for Nick Mohammed, the length that some people will go to effect a stage magic trick, crashing the internet, destroying Zoom from within. Nick, that was absolutely brilliant. I'm so sorry for the technical difficulties there.
No, it's fine. I mean, I feel like there might be, if there's a way of, I don't know, I guess you then could play the video, the bit of the trick which people are missing to prove. I'm just gonna. There's more of a process to this if I was doing it on James to make sure. But what I'd committed to was that he would have gone for an old film, black and white. Oh
no,
no, it wasn't, was it?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I don't know.
I'm just gonna say it. I wanted him to choose Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
Choose it.
Yeah, you did.
Amazing.
And the thing, because I wanted to prove that So I basically, I want to do this just so that you've definitely got it recorded, Callum. In any way that I had seen, oh God, is that going to come out now? I've got a little photo of this.
Oh wow!
But so my email thread was full of loads of little subliminal, like little things, which I was hoping. But then it's really interesting when he said that he was that he'd seen it mentioned recently. I was like, oh God, maybe he's. But I think he's made that connection himself. I think he saw. I hope. Well, either way, it worked, right? But he's just not here to.
That is incredibly impressive. And if anything, from my point of view, as a man who desperately needs a wee whilst hiding here in a murder basement, I absolutely loved that trick. And it did nothing but add to the dramatic tension. James, do you have a response?
I'm sorry. Also, what's mad about it is that I've watched so many mentalism things, and like one of those people who doesn't really know how it works, but I think I know how it works, blah, blah, blah. The fact that it was taped to your chest and it is the exact image that I was thinking of, I mean, I'm gobsmacked, Mohammed. You've done it. I'm going to go back over the email you sent me, and I'm going to see how many times you say singing and rain in it.
You won't find the words, but you'll find bits and bobs, maybe.
I'll find bits and bobs, all right, and then you'll go to court. Taking you to court.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was so impressive. And people on the chat have just said we all want to see that video. I didn't realize that because the stream went down, no one on the chat's seen it. We definitely will make that available, and we will make it available due to some horrific editing job that I'm physically incapable of. So I'm afraid Callum's going to have to do it. Let's have a huge round of applause for Callum in advance. Charles, we are well over time, but if you would like, how quickly do you think you can slam together an incredible James Acaster silhouette of our man holding it?
If he can pose for me, I can do his silhouette. What? Let's just
check out this pose.
Yeah, perfect. Yes, I need to. Oh, yeah. That looks pretty good.
Profile. Look at that profile.
Look at that profile. I was about to
hold that pose for me. That's really good.
It turned out the person I was about to mute for heckling was actually Scott Blanks, and he's the only person here who's allowed to heckle. Thank you so much for staying with us, everybody. As Charles finishes this off, I'm going to see if I can open the script. I can open the script, so let me simply say this. And what we can't do is look at my face, but I'll just read this over as Charles does this incredible silhouette of James Acaster. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this show. So sorry for the technical problems. I hope that you will continue to support this wonderful thing. This show really is the opposite of isolation, by which I don't mean we're illegally running up to each other and spitting in each other's mouths. No. What I mean is we're trying to make a thing happen here whereby we all feel a little bit less alone. I am so grateful to everyone on my sofa and everyone watching. And I'm particularly grateful to everyone that donates at infinitesofa.com or using the donate button under the window at twitch.tv/Stu Goldsmith. We're going to get on Twitch front page in the next couple of weeks. We're in negotiations for that now, so I hope you will come back here. With a bit of luck, we can keep the momentum going, keep the ball rolling, and make this into a huge multi-million-dollar industry in which I'm at the center. That's on the one hand, I'd like to be Kermit on the Muppet Show. On the other hand, I'd happily like to be Trump in the Muppet Show, if you could imagine such an awful thing. Ladies and gentlemen, me and my producer Callum, and to a far lesser extent David Hoare, have spent every week of the lockdown developing this show to be the warmest, happiest place to be, available online, to bring everyone together. So we can only do it with your help. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you can give us a subscription for free at no cost to yourself by linking your Prime account with Twitch, and you can donate actual money to support the show. You can share it with your friends. You can tell people about it in real life, probably using the telephone or shouting it over your adjoining garden wall. And ladies and gentlemen, probably there's a load of other stuff I'm supposed to say, but I will say that after Callum has reminded it to me. Let's go over to Charles Burns. Ladies and gentlemen,
here we go.
It's absolutely fantastic.
James Acaster, complete with antique duck, sort of.
Thank you so much.
It's got a bit bent, but there we are. That'll do.
Give a huge round of applause to Charles Burns.
Adam's apple looks.
Did you not? I hate to be the one to break it to you.
Yeah, it's pretty prominent, mate. It's pretty prominent.
It is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it.
When you recommended Charles, I thought you knew.
I'm going to start doing material about it now. I didn't know. I thought I'd rinsed everything about my physical appearance. I've got Adam's apple stuff now. Can't wait.
Thank you so much, Charles. We can find you on Instagram at Silhouettist. Thank you
Silhouettist,
so
yes.
much for coming and giving your services here. We will try to work out. We'll email each other. Maybe you can send me some screen grabs of those ones that you took, and I can send them to people who.
Yeah, will do. I can do better than that. I can send you scans of them all.
Whoa, he could do better than that. Scans through the actual post like it's the 1950s.
That's where I'm from, didn't you? Can't you tell?
And thanking Mr. Charles Burns. Give him a huge round of applause. Thank you so much, Charles. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me on my sofa tonight. It went a bit mad there, and I do apologise for that. I really, but in it, I mean, I don't need to apologise. It's the bloody internet, isn't it? Sometimes it goes tits up. We can all get over ourselves. I've, for some reason, spotlit Charles again. That was an example of it going tits up. Ladies and gentlemen, this Thursday at infinitesofa.com and indeed twitch.tv/Stu Goldsmith. My guests will be Ramesh Ranganathan, Suze Kempner. There will be a live circus haircut, and John Luke Roberts is going to be being a crone and cursing members of the sofa. So if you'd like to be a part of it, donate to the show. You'll be in the pool of people who come and get on the show. We'll be on YouTube tomorrow. This will be on YouTube tomorrow. And also the bit that went missing will be on YouTube tomorrow. So go to youtube.com/comcompod for Comedians Comedian Podcast, which is my other thing. Tomorrow night, mine and David's other thing is called Chops Comedy. It's a fantastic comedy night here using a similar technology to this, Zoom push through Twitch. Go to chopscomedy.com to find out all about that. We have some brilliant headliners coming up later in the run. We have Sarah Millican. Tomorrow night, we have Nathan Caton and far more besides. We are going to have a lot of fun doing that. I feel like I've promoted enough stuff. Can you just give a huge round of applause to everyone you saw? You saw Myq Kaplan. Myq Kaplan was absolutely fantastic. You saw Scott Blanks. He's the godfather of New Zealand comedy, ladies and gentlemen. Scotty. You also saw Charles Burns. You also saw Nick Mohammed, who absolutely held the show together when everything went tits up. Who you can see in Singing in the Rain sometime in the 1930s. Thank you to everyone that was on the show today. Is Katie still there? There's Katie. Let's give Katie a huge round of applause. Give it up for David Hawke, give it up for producer Callum, and most of all, give it up not just for everyone here on the sofa, but also please give it up for my celebrity guest tonight, having his mind read for real, James Acaster! Yeah! Thank you so much, everybody. I am now going to go and urinate. Good night!